Alan Watts, Why We Resist Change, Dark Night of the Soul. Whether we like it or not, change comes, and the greater the resistance, the greater the pain. Buddhism perceives the beauty of change, for life is like music in this. If any note or phrase is held for longer than its appointed time, the melody is lost. Thus, Buddhism may be summed up in two phrases: let go and walk on. Drop the craving for self, for permanence, for particular circumstances, and go straight ahead with the movement of life. Alan W. Watts. In reality, resistance to change is relatively common. It can be easy to view resistance to change as a barrier to be surmounted, but it's crucial to comprehend why certain people could be inherently resistant to change. When we understand this, we may lessen their impact on the change we're attempting to accomplish by acknowledging the causes, listening to them, and paying close attention to them. Also, according to Alan Watts, to resist change, to try to cling to life, is like holding your breath. If you persist, you'll kill yourself. Naturally, we refuse change due to the neural wiring of our brains. And other times, it could be due to our psychological requirements, societal needs, or even the fact that we might not like the practical effects a change might have on us. Understanding the potential causes of people's inherent resistance to change may help you handle the difficulty of resistance a change during the dark night of the soul has and rise above it. Let's see why we resist change and what we can do to overcome the resistance to change. Past issues. The past ghosts are constantly waiting to haunt us. They stay hidden as long as everything is in a constant state. The ghosts, however, start acting up the second you require their assistance for something new or different. Old scars reemerge, and long-forgotten grudges are remembered, sometimes spanning many generations. Before launching into the future, it's wise that we consider making amends for the past, as past ghosts are one of those things that haunt us and make us battle with a change when we experience the dark night of the soul. Everything changes, which is challenging to adjust to. Change is supposed to offer something new, but what kind of something new, we ask? As humans, we're accustomed beings. Routines become routines, and we adjust to them. Yet when change comes, it shakes us out of our complacency, often in unwelcome ways. We try to keep with the things familiar, yet we can't. It'll be best if you keep your attention on what matters most when experiencing changes from the dark night of the soul. Do not change for the sake of change, but change because you want to birth a new you. Uncertainty. People tend to reject the change if uncertain what it brings. Many times, we would rather stay stuck in sorrow than go forward. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't, as the saying goes. However, change is necessary to achieve that state of newness and a sense of security. Emotional issues. One of the leading causes of resistance is the emotional issues that a change may bring about, mainly if previous experiences with transitions have not been favorable. As a result, even when a change is well-intentioned, its significance is misunderstood, creating resistance. This results in misunderstanding and a lack of trust. Fear. Change or die. That idiom frequently indicates that if we do not want things to change, we might believe that we would instead pass away. We reject change because we anticipate it will result in something new and unexpected, and we may fear that. And as we've mentioned, fear of change is fear of the unknown. Because we dread not knowing what a particular change will bring about, we put up a fight against it for as long as we can. A very empowering realization is that the majority of our worries are learned. We can unlearn fear if we can understand it for sure. It will take not only willpower to get rid of our concerns. Eliminating fear, particularly fear of the future and upcoming changes that we may experience during the dark night of the soul, is a process that we have to undergo during the dark night of the soul to birth into a new being. We typically experience worry and fear as our initial responses to change are beyond our control. Because of how strong our imagination is, unless we choose to see the change as a good thing, we'll only think about what we stand to lose or what'll go wrong with the change. Our expectations. Our response to change depends only on how we view it. We'll respond in fear if we perceive it to be something to be afraid of. By approaching it as a challenge, we'll have broadened our knowledge of potential outcomes and may even be surprised by what we can do to embrace the change rather than fight it. Our expectations about what'll happen will change as our perception of things changes. Change can cause enthusiasm, expectancy, and anticipation. When we're conscious of how we respond to change, this happens. We gain power and become less resistant to change when we perceive our response to it as a choice rather than a conditioned response. So instead of worrying about what might happen to your future when you experience your soul journey, concentrate on the journey and the changes it brings, and accept the changes that'll make you grow to become a better man. Security. When we resist change, it's not much different from burying our heads in the sand because we feel secure in our current position. Even though we may think that maintaining the status quo provides some measure of security, deep down we start to fear the future. Too much of our attention is given to maintaining our sense of security. Growth brings change. Growth always follows change. To emerge into a new you, you need to accept the changes that come with the journey of the dark night of the soul. Being confident with who you are and how you decide to handle change gives you the best sense of security. Loss of command. Change impedes autonomy. It might give people the impression that they no longer have control over their lives. When faced with a potential change from someone else, our feeling of self-determination frequently disappears first. The majority of us are aware that if we don't change anything about how we live, we won't be any more fulfilled in terms of our goals and desires. We probably wouldn't get any richer. We'd still live a life based on our routine behavior, be 5 years older and be more accustomed to it. Do we want this? Naturally, the response is no. We all desire change, especially significant change. Nothing will change in the future if we don't alter our behavior. Change is a constant, according to Alan Watts. Change is a constant in life, no matter how we'll try to resist it. So if you want to make the most of it, we should accept it rather than fight it. Don't erect obstacles in the way of change. Instead, go with it. Since everything constantly goes through this process, you can't permanently stop the tide. You will only suffer as a result. Life is changing. Things come and go. But the point is to ponder the whys and avoid destroying. Humans pay attention to life's bright peaks, but ignore its low points. We tend to overlook the voids in life, but they're necessary to draw attention to the presence of everything else. Jumping into it, moving with it, joining the dance is the only way to make sense of change. Change resulting from our choices is typically viewed as positive, even if it's terrifying. Think about the person who decided to quit his corporate career to pursue his long-term goal. In this situation, the future is highly hazy. However, because they've decided to change, most of those who make this decision experience less fear, which is what we should do. Granted, the dark night of the soul comes with intense fear and resistance to change. But if we choose to accept whatever it brings, we are then ready for a new beginning.
Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified of subsequent updates. Thanks for watching.